ACLU here in Nebraska has been here for over 50 years, and it's American Civil Liberty Union that defends the civil rights and liberties of individuals in this state. Looks to expand them for all, so it's for everybody across demographics, across political lines, and so a lot of our focus area is moving into smart justice, which it involves the legal system, the correctional system, and those policies and practices that treat people humanely and have the best results in the lives of the individuals that they impact, and that includes the communities. And so often, like, data is important when it shows that if you implement this, your end results could less recidivism, which is safer communities, as well as better results for the individual. So, yeah.
Indeed.
Right. So I came in with, I was employed by ACLU in 2023, so I've been here about 2 years. I came as a policy fellow, and I'm now a policy strategist, and my area was focused on, and is still focused on the smart justice area, as I spoke of, around the correctional system, the legal system. Of course, we have quite a few other areas, and then so there's some overlap, as is with all the community. There's a lot of intersectionality within these different areas of, how people live their lives, how they identify, what they go about, and these systems will affect across the board, as well as how we live. While incarcerated, change, yes, maturity was a thing. I was very wild, and I went in young, and it just got worse, especially when I got more accepted by, certain groups, people that were already in gangs and etc., and how just, I don't even know how to explain my behavior, but it was above and beyond. But maturity started becoming a thing, and with that was the dichotomy of how I was in there and owning this identity I had, and then my communications with my grandma and my daughter who's growing up while I'm in there, and how I'm two different people. And that, as I'm maturing, there's a realization there. And then the biggest impact I feel along with that was the men in there who a mass majority were already been in for like 10, 20 years. And a lot of them had life sentences or a number on top that was, longer than a life sentence, it felt, because essentially it was a de facto life sentence. So they were with that number, to order to serve it, you had to die. Nobody's going to live that long. And yet they was doing these good things, but acting like regular people, not acting like they was holier than everybody else because I'm doing something better with myself. They were just one of the brothers on the yard, but they constantly engaged with people about, whether it's about these books they read, or you're reading, or what you're doing, join these clubs. There's different cultural clubs at that time. All these little things that they were just doing to try to better their life, which included giving to other people, such as myself. No matter how bad I was, there was always touch points where they was talking to me. Sometimes there was moments when they're like, you're on a whole lot of mess today, Jay. I don't really want to, it's just not a good day for me. But there was no, you like to behave like this, we're done with you. I don't talk to you. See us in years from now, which is often what programs were. Oh, you want to talk up in this program or whatnot? You're out, these rehabilitative programs. And then you couldn't get in for like a couple of years. So it really literally didn't feel like a connection, but this does. And by the time, and then I spent years, by the time I was released, I felt like I was one of them brothers, that had that drive to reach out to other people. And then I get out of prison, and I'm trying to find my place, and I just volunteer time. The different community organizations, sometimes it was just random events. Maybe I knew somebody, maybe there was just a flyer, and I would just go, and part of it was if they wanted to move a bunch of stuff, that's what I'll do. And then, I got to know people, and the more people I got to know, the more connected I started to feel to community, to different people. You know, it wasn't just people telling me no for this. Oh, you got a record. Oh, I really wish I could hire you, but you know, and so we'd have good talks, and then there would just be the dismissal all the time, all across the board. There was more than enough of them, but at the same time, I would get, at least for me, I would get a little bit of opportunities, and I think that's what changed a lot, because unlike some people, I had a little bit of opportunities to expand. I worked for a re-entry organization, so I was seeing some of the people that I knew and some other people who I didn't, who knew me, and got to engage in that. And then I became a coordinator of a hospital diversion house that they had, and that's because they allowed me the opportunity. And then as things went, you know, I started getting my confidence up that, hey, I could do more. And that, with them opportunities came what I'm seeing around me, and thinking like maybe I should be sharing about what I did and not covering my life up, so they can see like how bad I was, for lack of better terms, to how I can be your neighbor. Because, you know, now I get people saying, we could talk about a story in there, and they're like, I don't see that in you. And that's how it is for other people. It's not that it isn't there, there's the change. Yeah, that's who I was before I got some education, before I got some opportunities, before I got people that genuinely gave me a chance to be in their life, you know? And so when 2020 happened, and then there was COVID, and then there was George Floyd, and then there was protests about, you know, trying to get some betterment. I literally read a case inside about Ernest Jackson. And he was in there, and I went and talked to him like, dude, you never talk about this. And he's, just in short, his case is at 17, him and two of his buddies, so 3 of them altogether were charged with a shooting death. And they tried him first. He stated he wasn't there. They tried him first, convicted him of murder, because all they had to do was prove he wasn't, that he was present. A murder happened and that he was present. And they believe the murder happened. They convicted him of murder. They acquitted him of the gun, which is to show that they didn't believe he did the shooting, but he was there. Next young man goes to trial. That young man's asked about Ernest Jackson, tells him he wasn't there. They asked, you know, well, what happened? Because that young man decided to take the stand. And he stated, you know, this is what happened. I was a shooter. I was there. This had happened. It was self-defense, etc. And then a jury took all the evidence and that testimony and acquitted him, which means there wasn't no crime because he acted in self-defense. They acquitted the next person, the next young man, and then Ernest Jackson puts in appeals, and that was in 1999 when this shooting happened, and he's still incarcerated because they say none of that testimony matters. So I took that case, because it wasn't talked about, and kind of pushed it out into the public as much as I could, and I often had to do some, like I had to disrupt some events, because, you know, sometimes people were just, you know, they just were doing what they did and they didn't want other things coming in. But there was crowds of people, so I was able to introduce it, and the community picked that up, and it became a thing. We still haven't got Ernest Jackson out, but we was organizing, forming events, doing interactions to inform people, you know, different things that were giving you a stage of like, this is what it looks like for organizations and what they do. This might be what it looks like when the individuals that some of us didn't really care about are doing their political campaigns, organizing, you know, going out knocking doors, going out engaging in the city council, because I would go to the city council. I went to a pardon hearing, and at the end of the hearing, there was an open forum to talk about the Ernest Jackson case, etc. And, you know, that was some of the work, along with the volunteer work amongst many organizations I did. And then ACLU, I had interactions with them, because now I'm talking at the Capitol about the impact of my life inside, before and after and during, like solitary confinement, how that impacted me, etc. And then this opportunity came up, and they granted, you know, like, yes, you can, we will not only employ you, but you're going to know you're not a token, because how much trust and faith we put in you. And if you're lacking in an area, just say it. There's trainings, all of us learn. And so I would like to see that for more people to grow. whatever that field is, because not everybody wants to be out front, because the most successful people are not necessarily out front. They just talk about us as if we're the most successful because we're out front. But I got a friend who did 20 years, did construction, got out, made his own job, does his own work, and there's like 3 or 4 people that feed their family, pay their bills, their taxes, because that's what he does, and he treats them like he would want to be treated. So that is success. It's somebody, not just that he's employing people, but he's the neighbor you would want, he's the friend you would want, he's the community member you would want. You don't know nothing about his history, but you know that. But then we have this element, if we can put the history in there, you can be like, well, I'm going to ignore all of that, all the things that I would want for the person next to me, for the person who might be dating somebody in my family member, for the person that I'm friends with. But then you tell me this one element, and it erases all of that. So, yeah, my community involvement got me here, but it's the community's willingness to accept me and to grow with me and then give me some grace, as I've said before, that keeps me here, keeps me moving forward.